Hello fellow Earthlings, it's Libs, and today I'm going to be reading like the Duchess of Cornwall herself, Camilla Parker Bowles. So this is actually a video idea I thought of before I started doing YouTube, and for some ridiculous reason I just haven't got around to doing it until now. So I have 3, maybe 4 books that I'm going to be reading for this video. The first is A Gentleman in Moscow, which I don't really know anything about. I've been waiting for it to come in from the library for months, but it's finally here. It's about this Russian guy in sort of like the 20s who is under house arrest in this hotel where he lives. That's all I know, but it's meant to be fantastic. I'm also going to be reading Where the Crawdads Sing, which I actually don't know much about except there's this girl on a marsh and there's a murder. That's all I know. Third that I'll definitely be reading is Restless, which is a book I've had on my TBR for years. It's about this spy during the Second World War, and she's spent all her sort of like later life telling her kid that if the kid's bad, then one day she's gonna be taken away and like she'll disappear because of bad people. And now the daughter's finding out about the mum's past as a spy, kind of thing. And the fourth book that I may or may not end up reading is Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. I want to read it for this video, but I don't know if it's going to come in time. I've got it on hold at the library. It says 5 weeks. I'm hoping this will be a situation where it comes quicker and I can read it for this video, but if not, I have to stop putting videos on hold waiting for books to come in because I'm very behind in my reading challenges that I wanted to do this year. So I'm definitely reading 3 books for this video. I'm very excited for them. And yeah, let's see how this goes. Let's see if I like Camilla's favourite books. I am about 30% of the way into A Gentleman in Moscow. I was really into it for about the first 25%, and now it's kind of starting to lose me a bit. So the very beginning is fantastic. It starts off like the book is about this count who is sentenced to live under house arrest, but he lives at this really fancy hotel, so he has to move into like a much smaller kind of attic-y room, but he has the whole hotel that he can kind of be in, and that's still technically home. So it's just the dialogue between him and the judge sentencing him at the start, and it's just does a really good job at introducing the character, and it's very funny and it's great, and the book does a great job at introducing the hotel, introducing the characters in the hotel. My only issue is that it's not even an issue, it's just I don't know where this is going. There's some interesting like commentary on Russian history that's all very cool, and there's definitely a lot of really cool things. It's just starting to drag a bit, and what do you I think I've got hand sanitizer on my hands and now she is licking it off, which is not helpful. It's not. But I'm curious to see how this book goes. I want to power through it. So I finished reading A Gentleman in Moscow last night. I am somewhat confused with this book. It's not in a bad way. it's just, as I was reading it, I couldn't figure out where it was going at all, because there's not really much of a plot. You're just following this guy as he is put under house arrest in this hotel, and then seeing snippets of things that happen throughout his life in the hotel. And it's really interesting. There's lots of really a lot of history, and there's lots of really good aspects, but it jumps around in time a lot, so I was never really sure how old the Count was until much later in the book, which made certain things confusing. Like, he'd have a flirtation with someone and you wouldn't really know what the age difference was, because at one point it seemed like he was 50 something flirting with someone in their 20s, and then it turns out that he was more like in his 40s. So it wasn't as weird, but it seemed weird at the time. I don't know. It jumps around a lot. It's in a linear way, but they never tell you how old he is until towards the end, when many, many years have passed. So it makes it a little bit confusing. I really liked the ending. I think the ending was fantastic. I like how it was written. I did like where it ended up going. It just took a really, really long time to get there. And I was reading the ebook, so I thought I still had a good chunk to go. And then it turned out it ended, and then the rest was just like the start of the author's next book. So I was so confused when the ending happened, because I thought there was more coming, and then there wasn't. But it was a solid open ending, kind of. Oh no, I did enjoy it. I think I'm going to give the book 4 stars, because while I enjoyed it, I did have issues with the pacing and the time jumping, and that wasn't as clear as it could have been. And I did like the writing. It definitely, I think the author writes in a similar way to how I write. There's a lot of things happening in threes, and some beautiful references to film noir, which we know film noir is kind of my thing, so I very much enjoyed that. No, it was a really good solid book, kind of exploring how to make the most of your situation, and this guy getting to really focus on the connections with people he meets instead of anything else, because he can't leave this hotel. And yeah, it was a really, really good book. I'm glad I finally read it, because I knew I was going to enjoy it, but I have that nasty habit of thinking, oh, I'll enjoy this book. So then I put it to the side and then I don't read it. So I'm glad I finally got to it. I've read the first chapter or 2 of Restless. I don't really have any thoughts yet. I think it's weird because I've already watched the mini-series. I think it's a mini-series. I don't think it was a movie. I think it was a mini-series for Restless, and I really enjoyed that. So it's weird reading the book because I kind of know what's going to happen. So I'm just going to be comparing it to the mini-series, which I shouldn't do, but I really loved the mini-series, and it had Hayley Atwell in it, and that's all I need out of any media, I think, is just Hayley Atwell to be in it, and then I will be happy. But I'm going to read the book and see what I think, and hopefully actually give you updates while reading it. That would probably be a good idea. I have to just not be reading at midnight every time I think of doing an update, because that's why I never do them. I am about a third of the way through Restless, and I'm actually starting to enjoy it. It's starting to pick up now. The first sort of quarter is very slow, but the action it's happening now. I like it. I think my issue is that you've got one chapter from the daughter Ruth, and then the next chapter is like the spy thrillery stuff from the Second World War, and then it goes back and forth. and the chapters with Ruth are kind of boring. I don't care very much. She's just like this woman in her late 20s who has a son with this German guy we don't really know much about, and it's like just her working and failing to finish her PhD, and that's kind of it. There's nothing exciting there at this stage. I can kind of see what they want to do with her, but I don't think they need to try and like develop her in such a boring way. I'm here for the spy thriller. I'm not here for the daughter figuring out things. It's not very exciting at this stage. But thrillery aspects are getting more exciting, so I'm enjoying it. I'm not sure it's going to be a 5-star read, but I think I will like it overall. I have about a quarter left to go with Restless, and I'm definitely far more into it now than I was before, even though I know kind of where the story's going, what's going to happen, because I've seen the Acorn series. I'm still really into it. It's definitely a lot better. The chapters on Ruth are less boring now. They actually have gone somewhere. And yes, the more spy thrillery aspect is picking up. It's not necessarily like the super high action spy thriller. It's a lot more subtle, but it's definitely some I was going to say fun action. I'm not sure if you would go right to fun, but it's good. I'm enjoying it. Once again, obsessed with this cover, so I am now glad that I spent so long trying to get this, because if I didn't like the book and I'd spent so long tracking down this specific cover, I would be sad. So I'm gonna hopefully finish this off today or tonight. And yeah, that'll be good. I'm excited for this. Okay, I have finished reading Restless. And I ended up being much more into it by the end. I gave it 4.5 stars. I think the whole situation with the daughter it ties in nicely for the ending, but I still think not quite as much time needed to be spent on her at the beginning. But it was still a really, really good spy thriller mystery situation that I enjoyed and would recommend. I am now on to Where the Crawdads Sing. I've read the first quarter. I don't really have any thoughts at this point in time. It's kind of what I expected it to be. I feel like the last person on the planet to be reading this book. But I'm liking the writing style. I'm interested to see where the story goes, and I will catch up with you when I've read more. Okay, I am halfway through Where the Crawdads Sing, and I'm still really, really enjoying it. I don't really know what to say about it at all. It's kind of this murder mystery, but there's not a lot about the murder yet, so I'm keen to get to that part. At the moment, we're just kind of finishing up watching the Marsh Girl grow up. And then I've also read the first half of The Remains of the Day. I've borrowed the audiobook to read this one, and I am getting through it remarkably quickly. I think I borrowed it last night, and yeah, I'm halfway through already, and I might even finish it today, which would be kind of weird, but hey, I'm enjoying it. It's about this old butler after the Second World War taking a trip through England and reminiscing about, I guess, the heyday of butlers, and it's really, really well written, and just, I know, I like reflective stories, we know this, and yeah, it's just a very interesting piece of literature, and it's again vastly different from any other Ishiguro I've read. Clara and the Sun, and then I read The Buried Giant, earlier this year, and I love Clara and the Sun, and I really didn't like The Very Giant, so I think this one is going to be a big improvement on that, and I'm keen to see where it goes. So I have finished The Remains of the Day. Very solid 4-star read. The book just follows this older butler as he takes a trip in England and kind of just reminisces about his life as a butler, talking about what it means to be, in his opinion, to be a good butler, and sort of also going over how his dedication to being the best butler possible kind of has not exactly ruined his life, but made him kind of emotionally stunted and not necessarily going after the things that will make him happy. So it's really well written. Not necessarily the most interesting book I've ever read, but it's very solid, well written. It's good. And then I've also finished Where the Crawdads Sing. This is another solid 4-star. I kind of expected the ending, so, and I wasn't spoiled or anything about it, but I kind of expected things to play out the way they did. So I know I like what it said about the responsibility of the town to look after the people who are most vulnerable. Yeah, it's again well written. Some of the descriptions were really fantastic. It's definitely a very good book. I think this is the first time I've ever done like a reading vlog where all the books have been 4 stars. Restless, I think I technically gave a 4.5, but it's probably more of a 4. So this is the most consistent in terms of my enjoyment level, which is weird because I feel like I enjoyed doing my reading booktubers favorite books video more, and I guess I did walk away with 2 5 stars from that, but I also had books that I actively disliked, like Ariadne. So I'm not sure what I prefer. Do I prefer a mixed bag or a very stable bag? I'm not sure. Looking at the Duchess of Cornwall's favourite books as a whole, I'm trying to see what the theme is. And because I can feel something connecting them together, I'm guessing it's kind of more of a, I guess, the idea of how you present yourself is kind of a theme, particularly in The Remains of the Day and Gentlemen in Moscow. They're very much these older gentlemen kind of reflecting on their lives and who are projecting a particular image. I guess projecting an image is also the same in Restless, where we've got the spy trying to not appear to be a spy, and then it is also kind of a theme in Where the Crawdads Sing. So I'm gonna let you take what you want from that very bad analysis. I'm very tired, but I definitely enjoyed those books, and I'm glad I finally did this video because I've been planning it for so long. I'm just surprised that I didn't totally love any of these books. All 4 stars, and I really thought I was going to find a 5-star in here, particularly with Gentlemen in Moscow. I was really certain, or Restless, I was really certain they were going to be 5-star reads for me, and neither of them were, so I think I'm just surprised. But that is it for this video. I will see you next time. Bye.